I know exactly the time I stopped watching horror movies. And I don't even know if it would be considered a horror movie back in the day, but I was very, very young. You're talking about 6 years old or something like that. Jaws.
What? I don't think that's considered a horror movie.
That is not a horror movie.
Scared the hell out of me, man.
I feel like it's a horror movie.
Is it?
No.
It kind of is.
It has one of the most famous jump scares of all time.
But
Really?
it's horror. When I think horror,
Right. You think
Like-
axe murderer?
Yeah.
That
I mean, I don't really feel like getting eaten by a shark is a walk in the park.
kind of, well,
It sounds like kind of a nightmare.
it doesn't sound enjoyable. I will say this, that I was so young at the time that when I watched Jaws, I think it was my stepmom that brought me to the movies, and I was living in San Diego. We had a pool in the back, and in my 6-year-old mind, I felt like sharks can make it to the pool from the ocean. So I wouldn't even get into the pool.
My sister was scared of bathtubs from Jaws.
Is that
and
right?
I was an awful sibling. Like, we would go to the beach and we would go to like Gulf Shores, Alabama, where the water was not very clear. And I would dive under and grab her legs. And to the point where even as an adult, I'd like backlight shark towels in a room and she'd scream. She came to the aquarium here, walked through that, at the Georgia Aquarium, they had that big tunnel and a shark swam overhead. She cried and like called for
Really?
my mom. She was 21.
Now, the irony here is since then in my adult life, I have swam with sharks. No problem.
it is amazing the back and forth online as to whether or not Jaws is or should be defined as a horror movie.
Okay, I didn't know we were going here, but let's
It's
go.
more of a thriller.
Yeah,
than
that-
horror.
That I can see.
So it's technically defined as an American thriller film. However, there are plenty of people from Screen Rant, from Sci-Fi. One person, Jaws is unquestionably the scariest movie ever made. Jaws is definitely a horror film, and it's about time the pop culture world at large regarded it as such. And somebody else made a really good point, is that it is, Jaws was a classic. It was a unique modern day horror movie that seemed to originate in one of the safest, most unassuming places in the world.
Tommy, didn't you work at like Warner Brothers as a VIP tour guide? Can't you call up Steven Spielberg and ask him?
That was Universal.
Close enough. Spielberg's actually come out since and said he regrets Jaws because of the basically misnomer and the bad rap it gave sharks.
Really?
And it's responsible for instilling huge fear into people for sharks, and they are dangerous. But
Yeah, you know who else is responsible for sharks having a bad brand? Sharks.
You're
They
more.
don't generally resuscitate people on the beach. They don't have a good brand. Do you know, I think I read a long time ago that the actual amount of time you see a shark in Jaws is like 22 seconds.
what?
Which is good, because looking at that shark nowadays, it is horrible.
Right.
It's
Yeah,
hilarious.
it's it's in the vein of Alfred Hitchcock, where you don't see things. It's all off screen that scares you.
It's
It was like this-
anticipatory.
And it was like this big mechanical shark that looked like crap, and they all knew it. So they're like, how do we hide this from our shark movie?
It looks terrible.
Don't show it.
The Bert Show.